right, like I said earlier on, just when you think it's over, boom, another variant, another wave. And of course, I'm talking about Omicron, the new variant that was discovered a few weeks ago. Lots of countries are beginning to close their borders to some other countries, especially African countries. Obviously, tighter travel restrictions. And even us here in Ghana, we're expecting about 150,000 tourists over the course of Christmas. So how is that going to affect all of that? But first of all, we'd like to learn about the virus, about this variant, what it is, what it looks like, what it behaves like, and most importantly, how to protect ourselves from it. When we come back from the break, we will be getting into that conversation. Also, remember that December is vaccination month, so pop by Joy FM, get vaccinated if you're 15 years and older and you haven't been vaccinated already. But we'll talk more about that when we come back right after this.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Atto. You can catch up with all the fun and inspiration on the Joy Sports link here on Joy 99.7 FM, together with all other shows over and over again. It's very simple. All you need to do is go to myjoyonline.com/podcast and relive all of those fun moments over and over again. Joy 99.7 FM, your radio for discerning listeners.
Joy 99.7.
That keeps on giving. Just when you think we're done, almost done, close to being done, perhaps done soon, here comes another variant. Each one a little bit more tenacious than the one before. And of course, a few weeks ago, and even more prominently in the past few days, we've been hearing about Omicron, which is the new variant of the COVID-19 virus. And joining us this morning is Dr. Yao Bediako, immunologist with WACBIP, and he's going to tell us everything that we need to know about the new variant. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning.
How are you? Good to talk to you. It's been a minute.
Yes, I'm fine, thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so Omicron, the new variant, we don't know much about it yet. And when I say we don't know much about it, I'm talking about the average Ghanaian. So do you kind of just want to take us from the beginning, of how it came about, what it is, how it's mutated, what the mutations mean, and all of that? Do you just want to take us through all of that so that we're a little bit more informed about what it is?
All right. Well, to be honest, the Ghanaian public are not alone in not knowing much about Omicron. Nobody really knows very much about Omicron right now. What we do know is that it is a variant of the SARS-CoV-2 virus, which is responsible for causing COVID-19, similar to Delta and Alpha and Beta that we have heard about previously. Omicron was first reported by scientists in South Africa. Not mean that it originated in South Africa. That is just the first place that it was described. It has since been found in at least 13 other countries, many of which are in Europe. And what has led the WHO to characterize it as a variant of concern is the fact that it has a large number of mutations, some of which are similar to mutations that are found in Delta and Beta. And for that reason, there is some concern that Omicron may be highly transmissible and may be able to evade our body's immune system. So, but there is no evidence yet to prove that. Tests are currently ongoing to really identify or to determine whether or not this variant actually is as problematic as some people fear. So right now, it is too early to tell. All we know is that it is a variant. It appears to be spreading quite quickly. But the definitive evidence of whether it is indeed highly transmissible and perhaps immune evasive will come in the coming weeks as scientists around the world continue to study this variant.
Okay, so we actually don't know if our vaccines at the moment, what we have, and whether that provides some sort of immunity?
Oh, no. We are quite confident that the vaccines will continue to provide protection. All the evidence, all the other variants that have appeared so far have all still been successful to the vaccine, and based on at least the little we know about Omicron, the expectation is that the vaccines will still maintain a good level of effectiveness against Omicron. So the vaccines are still the best bet to control the spread. But of course, as time goes on, there's always a risk of a variant emerging that would be able to evade the vaccine-induced immunity. So that is why there is a need to continue to vaccinate and vaccinate as quickly as possible. And in fact, Omicron, the emergence of Omicron should be, giving us the necessary push if people are not already vaccinated to go out and get the vaccine, because the vaccine is currently the only real way to protect oneself against this virus.
Okay, talking about the only real way, I was just going to ask you if you know, because like you said, information is kind of now coming in. If you know if it's spread pretty much the same way as the other variants of COVID-19 are?
Yes, Omicron, it is a variant of SARS-CoV-2, but it is still SARS-CoV-2. So it is still spread the same. So yes, you can think of it, the COVID that we've been talking about, the SARS-CoV-2 that we've been talking about for the last couple of years. Omicron is a variant of it, but it behaves very similarly to everything else that we have seen. So all the measures that we need to put in place should be maintained. Just that Omicron may actually prove to be even more transmissible than what we've seen before. And if that were the case, then the protocols would be even more important.
Okay, yesterday I was listening to our good friend Kwame Sapon-Siedu talk about Omicron and its capacity to mutate, and I think you mentioned it as well in terms of it being more easily transmissible. I think is it about 20 or so mutation points? I don't even know what that means, when it says a virus has 20 mutation points or whatever. But do you want to just talk to us about this, this capacity that Omicron seems to be showing to mutate into other things, and what that means, if these mutations occur, if we're not able to really get a handle on the Omicron situation?
So I think we need to clarify, it's not Omicron's capacity to mutate. It is a virus, it is SARS-CoV-2 in general. So variants of a virus emerge when a virus mutates and changes its genetic makeup, and it changes enough for it to be classified as a different variant from what existed before. So the original SARS-CoV-2 variant that emerged in Wuhan in 2019 has over time been mutating. And every time it mutates enough for it to be different from what you had before, we call it a new variant. So there are currently probably hundreds of variants around. But every once in a while, you get a variant emerging. And it's a random process of mutation. The virus is just mutating randomly. But at a certain point, you get a variant that has certain characteristics that are concerning from the perspective of public health. So we had alpha, we had beta, we had delta. These were all the results of mutation. Now, Omicron is also the result of mutation. The difference is Omicron has a lot more mutations than we saw previously. So Omicron has at least 50 mutations. So it's changed in 50 different parts of its genome compared to the original Wuhan strain. And 30 of these mutations are in the spike protein, which is, how the virus enters cells. So you can just think of it as a continual process of mutation. And so right now we are at 50. If the virus continues to mutate, subsequent strains will have more than 50 mutations. And obviously, the more mutations you get, the greater the likelihood that one of these mutations is going to give the virus certain attributes that make it more difficult for our bodies to fight against. Hello?
Is that what it is? It's mutating to endure, to survive. Like it's like I'm not going to go away.
Yes. Mutations, it is natural selection. All organisms adapt to their environment through a process of mutation. So random mutations confer either advantages or disadvantages to an organism. And based on selection, obviously you are going to select for organisms that have picked up mutations that allow them to survive. So the virus is, we are in a battle with the virus. The virus' best tool is to keep changing itself, and as it changes, some of those variants will have an advantage and so will persist. So then you find that the variants that have the advantage dominates the other variants that don't have the advantage. So that it is evolution, it is natural selection. That is, it is the way life works, or biological life works.
Okay.
It's nothing peculiar to this particular virus.
Okay.
But that is how viruses operate.
Okay, so in your world, and of course, look at the world of immunologists and, all of that, were you expecting, this kind of, what's the word, tenacity, or this kind of, did we expect it to go on for this long? And how much longer potentially could this go on for?
It will go on for as long as people are not vaccinated. For a long time. This is not surprising. So long transmitting from person to person. This is why vaccination is so important. We are fortunate in that we have developed a vaccine in a very, very short time. Passing the vaccine alone is not enough. People have to take the vaccine. And around the world, we are seeing, including in Ghana, we are seeing certain hesitance. People deciding they don't really want to get vaccinated. Yeah. So long as people are not vaccinated, they risk being even a single person and mutation. So till 80-90% of the globe is vaccinated, COVID will probably still be with us in some shape or form.
Okay, well, thank you for that. We'll definitely have a conversation with you in the next few weeks, as we learn more about this particular variant. So thank you for joining us this morning. Dr. Yao Bediak, who is an immunologist at WACBIB. Thank you so much, Doc. Now, if you didn't take anything away from this conversation, take this one thing. Get vaccinated. It's our best chance as a world to get rid of this COVID-19, or at least get it in a place where it's not so dominant in our lives, because this virus is savage. It's just changing and changing, and it's wave after wave after wave. And like we saw with measles, with mumps, with rubella, with yellow fever, all of these diseases, we've eradicated to a certain point, smallpox, for example, by vaccination. So I urge you with all of my heart and my soul that you get vaccinated. December is vaccination month. Vaccines are available at your hospitals, your polyclinics. Here at Joy FM, we're vaccinating as well. Pop by, get vaccinated, get your children vaccinated. Let's get this under control. I always say this, you may get it and be fine, but you may get it and give it to somebody and they may not be fine. So let's do this for ourselves, and let's do this for one another. Well, this is the AM show, and we will continue right after this very short break.